What if your guest loved your mattress so much that they wanted to go buy it and then you earn money from that purchase? That's exactly what Minoan is doing for you. And we're going to talk about that right now on the Fearless Investor Podcast. Hey, everyone. Welcome into the Fearless Investor Podcast. You're listening to me, Kyle Stanley, and I am talking with Marc Hostovsky from Minoan today about how he created this awesome product and service that's helping you get discounts on furniture, helping you to save time in your ordering process, and helping you to make money once you actually have those products in your place. Guests can purchase and you can earn a little bit. It's an awesome concept, awesome idea. What I love about this is Marc doesn't even have a short-term rental, but his story is so organic and it's from experience. So I love that. And I just want you guys to, before I give away everything about Minoan, I want you to hear it straight from Marc's mouth. So let's get to it right now with Marc Hostovsky here on the Fearless Investor Podcast. Hello again. Welcome into the Fearless Investor Podcast. And we've got Marc Hostovsky with Minoan. Marc, I usually ask people, why do you, or what is like the craziest Airbnb story you have? But my question to you is, did you feel pressure to get into the hospitality industry, given that host is in your last name?
I think it's just more like kismet. I always knew that it was meant to be, but it was more of a calling. No pressure.
There you go. No, that's awesome, man. It's kind of like if you have the last name Bush, like you've got to be a NASCAR driver, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Well, I'm really excited to have you on here. Minoan is such a cool tool. But before we really dive into how people can use it and how you started this business and what brought you in, can you just, pretend like you're at a conference right now and someone comes up and you say, "Hey, I'm Marc with Minoan," and people say, "What is Minoan?" What's your little elevator pitch on what Minoan is?
Yeah, it's really just all about saving hosts time and money when it comes to, or really improving the economics of operating an STR business when it comes to all the stuff you have to order to fill the property so that people aren't, your guests aren't sitting in an empty box. So like the linens, the mattresses, the beds, the frames, the art, the consumables, the cleaning supplies, the locks, all that stuff. And there's a few different ways we go about saving time and money. The first one is very direct. I mean, we get really strong discounts across 200 brands. We work with Wayfair, and it's all sorts of spectrum. So it's Wayfair on the entry level and other furniture brands like Walker Edison who sells, they sell on Amazon. And we have a really strong discount, like way beyond
Nice.
what you could find elsewhere. And then we also have West Elm, Pottery Barn, some of the higher end across all these different categories, basically. So we save you money upfront on the furnishing. The second thing about saving time is that ordering, if you're furnishing a rental from scratch, you're ordering on average over 200 items. I mean, right. Even the kitchen alone, the plates,
oh my gosh,
the bowls,
so much.
the cups, it's crazy. And so the time that goes into picking the right product, ordering it, and a lot of times people are ordering across like a bunch of different websites and trackings all over the place. And so in Minoan, it's one centralized platform where you can order from all these different brands, get really good discounts, and it's all centralized in one place. So you see an order, you see the tracking, you see how much you saved, you see when it's going to be delivered. And so you can manage this stuff really easily. No Google Sheets, no sending email POs or ordering over emails, depending on the scale of your operation, or just ordering everything on Amazon where you're paying. You can get stuff at great prices, but the reality is you're paying retail. And as a business owner, we believe you should be getting a strong discount off retail. And then the last element about how we improve the overall economics of the property is that we will actually allow you to sell any of the products or the furnishings to your guests. So if a guest really loves the cookware or the mattress or linens, those are big sellers for our hosts. If someone sleeps on that mattress and loves it or loves the sheets, we build this sort of custom elevated storefront. And on the for people who are watching, you can see sort of like what
Yeah.
the setup looks up on the property. We put these little note cards there that say, found something you like, scan this code, the shop, the space. But all these moments of inspiration that happen in the property, you can capitalize on that and make money on it. And the reason why that's significant is it actually turns all these, instead of all these furnishings being a cost center, these become revenue generating assets. And so if you can sell the mattress a couple times a year, sell towels, sell soaps and shampoos, you start to recoup that initial investment and eventually get those to be net profitable. And so kind of long-winded. I'd have to be not a good elevator pitch, but you said conference and usually you have a little more time there. So
you're good. I mean, save money, save time, and then on the back end, make money. As simple as that. And that's what I like about Minoan, and so easy to implement too.
Good.
So
well, I might shamelessly just steal that nice little phrase there.
Bullet points, just like how I write my emails. So Marc, you're a guy that doesn't even have a short-term rental. And that's not a knock, by the way. It leads me into my question. Why did you get this inspiration to start this? And oh, by the way, just so you know, I'm not a big believer in all of the softwares that are out in the industry. I think a lot of them are nonsense that are not needed, and is just another way for people to feel like, it's kind of the scare tactics of like, oh, if I don't do this, I might not, be insured properly, or I might not get this. And, that those scare tactics is not at all what Minoan is. And it's also a very good, good service. So I'm curious, for someone who doesn't have a short-term rental, where did the inspiration come from on this?
Yeah, it's an interesting journey, but my background is in retail. So I started, I was an early employee at a company called jet.com. I was going to say I started my career there, but it was my second job. It was a crazy e-commerce company. We were taking on Amazon. They had raised tons of money. And we launched the company. And then 10 months later, we were already operating at $1 billion annualized run rate. So we're already doing $80 million a month. So it was this like incredible masterclass, honestly, in just e-commerce and how to be successful in e-commerce. The founders sold that business to Walmart. So then I went over to Walmart as part of that acquisition, and I took over about a $400 million P&L in that business within sporting goods, where I was doing both e-commerce and starting to work on the stores side of the business. So figuring out, how do you set the modular, how do you pick inventory, all this stuff. And my biggest takeaway from those 6 years was that the best product experiences don't actually happen on screens the way they do in e-commerce, and they don't happen on shelves or in aisles the way they do in stores. They happen in real moments of use when you can use a product and see if you like it. And for me, that was really obvious, because the buyers, the people who are deciding like what goes on the modular or what gets merchandised on the site, who work at Walmart or Jet or Amazon or Target or any of these companies, they make those decisions based on samples. So people say, send me the sample, I'm going to use it, see how good it is, and then I'll decide if it's good enough for our customer. They're not making their decisions based off images on a screen or based off what a cardboard box looks like. But by the time the customer is interfacing with those products, that's how they have to make their decision. They have to look at a screen and say, all right, do I like this table? Does this look good? Okay, how am I feeling about it? Or they have to go and, go into a store and look at products in boxes or on shelves where it's hard to really know the quality or what it's going to feel like or how it's going to hold up. So that was sort of like how I got into this, like, man, there's got to be value in just like real moments, where people can use products. And I had my own experience at a short-term rental in upstate New York, where, I mean, we were just like head over heels with this property. It was incredible. Like the mattress was so, it was one of those, like, we just woke up and we're like, oh man, what time is it? Well, we like never sleep in this late. What is this mattress? Like, and even the kitchen, it's just like the little things, like the knives in the kitchen were really sharp. And so we were like making like summer salad or something. And I was like, damn, these are like good knives. Like our knives at home suck. What are we, like, I can't cut a tomato with our knives at home. And I love the coasters. The coasters are from this like local artisan in town, and they're just like really, really cool. And so I ended up emailing the host, and I was like, "Hey, where'd you get all this stuff? Like, I want to buy it." And she was like, "Oh, I'm not sure. Let me check." And I got like a message, like I think like I don't know, a few days later, and there's just a bunch of like links. And I was like, wait a minute, these aren't even affiliate links. Like, affiliate
Wow.
links meaning you
Yeah.
get kicked back on the sale, but like
Right.
1 or 2% usually is pretty small. I was like, you're not going to make any money on this. And
And
then
you just
I had
recommended
this
it. Yeah.
I had this big moment where I'm comparing my retail, like in the retail world, all these brands are spending so much money to try and get in front of people, to get a reel to pop up on Instagram, to get like an ad to pop up for a second on Google. They're pouring billions of dollars into this. And here I am in this short-term rental. I've just had a real moment, not just a digital
REAL.
impression, a real moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell? The host isn't making money. The brand doesn't even know this is happening. This poor host probably paid full retail for this mattress. She should have gotten a huge discount because she's like basically a marketing partner for this
Right.
brand. And that was sort of the inspiration for Minoan and why we focused on short-term rentals, because the belief is that if you're operating a short-term rental, you are creating very rich, very meaningful moments between people and products every single day. And that is very valuable. And if you need evidence of that, look at companies like Facebook and Google, who make 96% and 82% of their revenue, respectively, off of advertising
Yeah.
and creating these moments. And so that's how we really, it's just like a passion of like, this is where the real value is. It's not up on these screens. And then going to suppliers and brands and saying, this is where you want to be in these spaces, in these moments. And that's sort of how we then get the really good discounts and got everything going. So
Yeah.
it was sort of by again, like I said
Very
earlier,
organic.
it was just by accident. But I do believe that these spaces are just like, everyone who's in the short-term rental industry is capitalizing on the experience economy, very familiar with that. There's also the attention economy, which is arguably even larger. And I think that hosts have a tremendous role to play there and tremendous value if they think about it the right way and structure their business in the right way.
What a cool, just organic story, which I love, because, when you have that experience and now you can turn it into something that's helping other people and you're profiting, right? Like
Yeah.
that is a capitalism 101 experience story right there. And I love that because it feels so real to now know the story behind Minoan, and what you've done in 2.5, 3 years is really impressive. I mean, I heard about you not even at a conference. I was sitting down with a couple Airbnb hosts in where was I? I was in Alabama, and they were like, "Hey, have you heard about this thing called Minoan?" And no, I haven't, but what is it? I kind of rolled my eyes. What is it? It's another thing. And they told me about it. I was like, wow, that would simplify a lot of things. That's really cool. And so then ended up meeting some of your employees over about a week later in Nashville at the STR Wealth Conference.
Yeah.
And just ever since that, everyone left and right I'm hearing is using Minoan. So talk about for a second, before we really get people to feel what this experience looks like. Over 200 partners in under 2.5 years. That's nothing to scoff at. Like that, I imagine that was probably the biggest groundwork that you had to do to make sure that Minoan really worked. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of work. It really came down to just spending a lot of time up front to make the value prop to these suppliers very clear. And a lot of what I just mentioned, I mean, it's like going to these brands and saying, what's your marketing budget? And X, and by the way, there's all these other things going on in digital marketing that make this even more attractive, like with the iOS 14 update, like things with cookies. Like there's lots of things that have happened in digital marketing in the last few years that have made Facebook and Google, which are the two, it's like the duopoly of advertising or impressions, creating these moments. even more expensive. And so it's just going into that supplier and saying like, how much are you spending on marketing? Okay. What's your B2B business look like? Okay. Not great. Okay. Like there's this huge audience here who are buying products, buying beds, buying mattresses, buying stuff that, they could be buying your product, but you need to give them a real good discount. You shouldn't get greedy on the margins there, because the real value is getting into 10,000 rentals and then having 1 million people a year use your cook set, sleep on your mattress, use your radio, I don't know, talk speaker system. No one has radio anymore. Like, use your soap and shampoo, use your hair dryer when their hair is wet and they're coming out of the shower. Those are like real moments. And so that was sort of how we approach it with the suppliers. And it was definitely a major effort, but the value prop is so strong. It really is like a win-win-win. And to give you a glimpse, on like the brand side, it's like, these are the richest moments you will ever be able to create with a potential customer. And like, we're going to have a way for you to get in front of potential buyers. But the quid pro quo is like, you got to give them like a good discount. Otherwise you don't get access to all the guests and all that
Absolutely.
stuff.
Absolutely. Well, so, Wayfair, Crate and Barrel, what are some other partners that you're really proud of that especially might be some of the more popular ones that people are using?
Parachute. People love Parachute. We just started working with another linen brand called Garnier Thibault, which is it's like one of the largest linen manufacturers in the world. It's a French company. They're in like thousands, hundreds of thousands of hotels. And so we just work with them to bring basically like deep hospitality pricing to short-term rental owners. And it's really high quality fabrics. There's a company we work with Samsung. So we have Samsung TVs, Samsung appliances are all on there. There's a company called Blue Land, which it's like cleaning products, and it's all dehydrated. So this is like, it's really cost effective because it's basically a tablet that you drop into water. And because it's a tablet, they can ship many more. Like shipping's less expensive because when you're shipping like detergents, like water, those are like 90% water, and water is like dense and expensive to ship and takes up a lot of volume. So they have beautiful branding. There's like lots of West Elm, Industry West, Restoration Hardware, Our House.
You got a lot. You got a lot of them.
Like every category, it's like there's like lighting, everything you'd need, we have covered pretty much. Build.com, which is like for any hardware, they're like the hardware store of the internet, basically owned by Ferguson, which is like a commercial distributor. And so we have a good deal with them. So there's lots of options.
That's great. Well, if someone is going to go and do this, I think everyone understands the concept, right? You can buy all in one centralized location. You can go ahead and get everything on sale at a discounted rate, and then you can start selling those things to your guests. But take me through that experience, because I think this is what's going to be the biggest speaking point to a lot of people who are like, well, I'm already shopping at all those places anyway, and I hate going to those individual websites. And now you're telling me I can save money and put it into one centralized location. Walk us through that.
Yeah. So the way it works is when you log into Minoan, first, when you got to apply to Minoan, and we vet all the applicants just to make sure it is in fact a real STR.
Yeah. And it's free to sign up with Minoan, right?
It is free. Correct.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. That was important to us, like, because the hosts are creating a lot of value. So always making sure that like the resources are free was important, and that we would make our money on the, through commissions on the supplier side and stuff like that. So you would log in, you would see a list of like 200 brands, which is growing every day. When you click on like West Elm, it'll take you to West Elm's website. A Chrome extension then pops up once you've installed it, where you can go to a product page, click add to cart, and put in some other information about the product. and it'll just grab all the information on the page and bring it back to Minoan. So you go to West Elm, you see like a bench you like, you open the Chrome extension, you click add to cart, boop, that goes back to Minoan. Then you go to Fellow, say Fellow makes like these really elegant like tea kettles. They're like, guests love these things. So say you go to Fellow, you buy this like gooseneck tea kettle, you know, whatever, 50% off or whatever it is. And then boop, that goes back in. And then you buy stuff from Blue Land or whatever. Then you have all these products in your one cart on Minoan. You've grabbed them from all these other sites and brought it into one place. And then from there, you can request a quote. So we'll tell you, okay, when will this be delivered? How much is shipping going to cost? The two big things. Is this going to be on budget? And can we get this to you on time? Like the two things we really care about. We'll return the quote with all that information, how much you've saved, when it'll be delivered. You click checkout. We then route the order to all of our suppliers. We get tracking information. We update it, but you just see everything in that one cart. And we email you as things change. You're not getting emails from 10 different suppliers. You're not like logging in to a bunch of different accounts. For returns also, like, I mean, managing returns across many different suppliers, like you just deal with us. You say, hey, this thing was broken, or hey, this doesn't fit. And then we take care of all the admin work there. Obviously you have to like get it. We can't come and pick it up and bring it, but we'll give you the information you need to return it. We take care of the refund, we coordinate. So it's really like about making all that really, really easy and just taking like the admin work off of the host's plate.
So simple, especially if you're doing a lot of setups, or if, you know, like for example, our team, my wife's our interior designer and she places all the orders, but she's not the one showing up to the property. So there's a lot of communication that ends up happening where my wife orders, she gets the email notification, then she's got to tell our COO tells the person who's going out there, where a lot of this just feels like, hey, we can cut out a lot of the communication too. It looks like you want to say something on that.
So we have a current structure, which is like account, property, user, where like you can collaborate and bring in a designer, but we're launching some new functionality in the next like month or so that is really geared towards ease of collaboration. And like your wife would be able to go in, order everything, get all the discounts, and then at checkout, it'll say, who do you want to CC in all the order notifications? And she could put in the COO and click, you know, check out, and then it's like, all right, good. Like that person will get all the, if anything changes, like they're there. And making it easy to collaborate and structuring things very specifically by property, and then having each property have its own, you know, if you want one, that if like the cleaner on this property is different than the cleaner on this property, making it really easy for you to set up collaboration and do it at a property. You know, you do it at a portfolio level if it's all the same, but if you have different users, you can isolate and just, again, it's like systematizing this stuff. I think that, you know, to scale, you need systems. And systems exist for pricing. Systems exist for guest communications. Systems exist for connecting the OTAs and managing calendars. Like you said, there's no shortage of technology companies in this industry. We saw that there was like no real good system for the ordering and furnishing. Like the best systems we saw were basically a Google sheet. And so we want to solve that gap. On top of the other value, again, it's like, it's all about empowering the host with these brands. And it's like, you have a lot of value, you know, and so you should get good pricing, and you should be able to make money and really improve the economics of the overall operation.
Awesome. Well, hey, I've got a question about the timing of all this. Before I do, just a reminder, guys, for those of you who are listening live right now in the Six Figure Formula group, we are about to go into question and answer time here with Marc. For those of you that are listening to the recording on this or watching the recording on YouTube or our podcasts, if you are not a part of the Six Figure Formula, you're missing out on a huge value of being able to have access to these guests and ask them questions. Go check that out at fearlesskyle.com/6FF. And oh, by the way, Minoan is one of our discount partners too. So you get a $25 off your first order with Minoan if you're a part of the Six Figure Formula as well. So again, just go check that out, fearlesskyle.com/6FF. And I'm looking forward to all the questions that are about to pop up right now from our members. So Marc, timing. I got a property. I just signed it. Whether I own it, arbitrage it, or co-host it every single day. I'm not live on Airbnb, VRBO, Furnished Finders, my direct booking website. I'm losing money. So
Yeah.
timing is very important. We typically are setting up a property from the time we get it, the keys in our hand, to the time that we're accepting our first guest. 3.5 weeks is a typical property for us. So are these orders coming in within that time?
Yeah. I mean, as long as you order from the right supplier. So we'll
Right.
make recommendations based on your date. Like,
Okay.
we have all this data, we're processing thousands and thousands and thousands of orders for hosts every month, right? And so we have a lot of data around, like, okay, is this furniture brand, how often they promised it would be delivered by this date, how often are they hitting that promise? And some suppliers, it's like 90-95%, some it's like 40-50%. So if you can tell us when your go live date is, if you have products from brands where our data shows like they're right like 50% of the time, we'll flag it and we'll say,
Okay.
hey, FYI, this one's at risk. And different suppliers have different infrastructure and strategies. So like the more warehouses they have, the more likely they are to get you stuff quickly. The way they ship things. So Walker Edison, for example, is a brand that they flat pack all their furniture. It's like the IKEA model kind of, but for e-commerce. Like everything's flat packed, so it can go out parcel, not freight. And so that means like they can get stuff out pretty quickly, like 3 to 5 days max. And so, long story short, if you have a longer lead time, it opens up, you can get all the suppliers basically. Once that gets condensed and shorter, kind of like the list shrinks, because we want to make sure you're getting stuff on time. And so we might recommend that you like, hey, you should just order from Wayfair. You shouldn't
Yeah.
look at, these specific suppliers, because it could take a little bit too long. So we'll, we try to make sure we're taking that into account.
Awesome. Okay. So I've got a devil's advocate question for you.
Yeah.
A lot of people ordering furniture on Amazon. And that is, I'm assuming, tough to compete with when it comes to prices, delivery time. So what's the selling point on why I should stop doing Amazon and just focus in on Minoan and all the discount partners that you guys have?
Yeah. I mean, Amazon's great. I mean, I think going back to what you said earlier, like there's a million software companies trying to like sell off of fear, and like Amazon's a great company and
Yeah.
a great place to order from for your short-term rental. What I would say is this: if they're on Amazon, if it's a supplier on Amazon, if they're on the marketplace, first of all, Amazon's taking 15% right off the bat, and then that supplier is expecting to make retail margins on that product. And so even if the costs are great on Amazon, if you look at the margin structure, there's a lot baked in there. And so Walker Edison, for example, is a supplier that sells on Amazon, and they have good prices on Amazon. You can buy their stuff on Amazon, it ships quickly, and it's good prices. Our discount with them is pretty significant. It's a lot better than what you get if you're a consumer buying retail. And so, again, Amazon's great. I mean, like they get stuff to you on time. It's good support. They really broad assortment, but you're shopping like a consumer. You're not shopping like a business owner. And even the Amazon business account, it's like they throw you like a bone, but you're really not unlocking true wholesale pricing. Like what
Okay.
we're trying to get for hosts is the price that Amazon pays to bring it
Nice.
into their warehouse, not the price they sell to you at. But that being said, like you could run a really successful STR business managing all this stuff on Amazon, and I'm not going to say like you have to use Minoan. I
Right.
just think that like you'll probably save more money. You'll probably be able to get higher quality products, and your budget will just go further. But there's stuff that you should always get, on Amazon if
I
you're in a pinch, stuff like that.
I like that answer. Very transparent and no sales pitch attached. That's awesome. Marc, what questions did I not ask? Is there anything that we did not talk about that you want to share?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
mean, I do think that I'll go back to what I said about the attention economy. And I think sometimes like when I talk about this stuff. People are like, oh, I really don't want to like NASCAR my, I don't want, they're like, are there like barcodes everywhere? Like, how does this work? It's like, no, that's not like, we are a retail, our team comes from some of the best retailers, in the world. And we also we don't just work with short-term rentals, we work with hotels. And some of our hotels charge like over $1,000 a night in the Hamptons. And so like, and they have the same shoppable, their shop looks the same as our short-term rentals. And so what I'd say is like, it's very thoughtfully done. There's a lot of psychology that goes into how we design these things. There's one note card. It's not price tags hanging from the products. It's just one note card on a powder coated metal stand that says, found something you like. It doesn't say buy, it doesn't say shop, or it doesn't say add to cart, it doesn't say purchase. It's none of these commercially charged words that make someone think like, are you trying to sell to me? Right. It's like all these lighter words are like, discover, like, you're here. This stuff is yours for the weekend. Like, use it, see if you like it. And I think if you lean into that, we see like, we have hosts send us screenshots of like conversations they have back and forth with guests in the ones I'm thinking of are through Airbnb, but through that portal. And like, guests find it really interesting. It's like it's fun, candidly. Yeah. Like, it's fun to go into a place and feel like it's your own little personal like showroom, and you can try stuff out and see if you like it. And so that's the only thing I'd say. Sometimes people are really apprehensive about like, I don't want to like overly commercialize the space, and neither do we. I mean, that doesn't work. Like, we don't want to trigger it. There's this thing called persuasion knowledge model, where when we think we are being cajoled or sold to, like, our whole brain chemistry changes. We're like become very guarded, and we've spent a lot of time designing the entire end-to-end experience so that it doesn't trigger that. And I think the sooner that hosts familiarize themselves with the attention economy and the value of attention, and realize that like these big companies like Facebook is just monetizing attention. Yeah, that's what they're 100%. They're a social network, yes, but look at their P&L. Like, where does their money come from? Same thing with Google. Google makes a million things, but look at how much of their business is advertising revenue. And it's a massive, massive, massive market. And it's just like, your listing, you have more power than you know, basically. And the sooner you realize what that's worth and start leaning into that, it's going to really unlock a lot for your business. And then as you scale, your attention's bigger and bigger, and you can just create this really nice flywheel of, I get discounts, I get good brands, guests love those brands, sometimes they buy them, I recoup my investment, I can buy nicer things, my ADR goes up. It can really work in your favor. And I'm going to shut up now, because obviously I'm rambling on a little
no,
bit.
You're passionate, you're excited, and it's an awesome service, awesome product. So guys, again, if you're ready to go get started with Minoan, Minoan.com, Minoan. Am I spelling that right? Minoan.
Yeah, it's MinoanExperience.com.
Minoanexperience.com. Thank you. Minoanexperience.com. And then if you're ready to get started with Minoan at a discount for your first $25, your first order at $25 off, you just need to join the six-figure formula if you're not already there. fearlesskyle.com/6FF. Marc, thank you so much. Any last words?
Yeah, I'd say there's no reason. We're free, so there's no reason not to sign up, get the $25. You can get the $25 and order one thing. Yeah, worth $25 and dip out. Like, there's no reason not to sign up, to get the credit and use us. You can use Amazon too, but there's no reason not to use us, given that it's a free resource. So yeah, I just encourage everyone to take the 2 seconds to go and sign up, and it takes 10 seconds and you get free money. So there you go. Should be a win-win.
Love it. Marc, thanks so much for helping our audience to conquer the world of short-term rentals. All right, guys, as always, if you're listening on the podcast, please leave a review, leave a 5-star review, give us some feedback. We'd love to be able to hear from you. And also, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that like button, share it with someone so that we can continue to reach more people and help make this a stronger industry here in the short-term rental world. Thanks for listening to the Fearless Investor Podcast. We're helping you to conquer the world of Airbnb.